Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the technical momentum outlook for week 24, the week of June 12th through 16th, 2017. Hey guys, as always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only. Support your knowledge in the market, see what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan, and always manage your stop when placing a trade. All right, Jedi traders, let's get into the technical momentum outlook for, as we said, week 24. Let's go ahead and take a quick recap there. Posted a week 23 recap as the ES. Again, these charts are available on that blog post. Here we can see the ES weekly. What a day on Friday we had as market action pulled down on the NQ, clearing out a lot of orders there, and unfortunately, or fortunately, ES and YM didn't play along as price action for the week pretty much held at the MML high. So somewhat of a feeling that we didn't have a complete market sell-off. Might give us some hope that market action will remain in this uptrend. But on the overall picture, ES, from a technical perspective, still holding at the highs here as Q2 coming to a close here in a couple weeks and rolling out the contract next week as well. Taking a look at the moving averages on the ES in week 23, still holding above those key moving averages, including the 10 EMA. Let's go ahead and get a zoom picture on that, as we can see price action here on the ES in the bigger picture still holding throughout the week 23. Holding upside above the 10 EMA, 10 exponential moving average, and well above the 50 and the 200, maintaining that relentless uptrend. Taking a look at the daily gaps for week 23. Yep, there it was, that NQ sell-off on Friday. Again, as we said, didn't see the same price action on the YM or the ES, and maintaining those new, actually all-time highs there on Friday. With the NQ actually making a new all-time high on the on the June contract as we roll over into the September contract, but taking out those two open gaps. As I say, each day and each week, keep in mind those open daily gaps. Our markets will eventually, and on the indices, take those out and close them out. Do we have open gaps to the downside? Absolutely. I'll show you where those are. But right now, the most nearest open gap to the downside here, 55.1275. 22.48 on the YM, and downside here 23.1575. Again, no guarantee that we're going there next week to get them, just a high probability at some point markets will take care of unfinished business. All right, open gaps, love them. All right, ES trend for the overall week here we have on a Flex Renko 20-tick chart, higher time frame. Again, when we're talking about the HA bars, we're talking about Heiken Ashi bars. A solid body tail up, solid body tail down, or an indecision. That's all you need to make your choice out of. You don't need to define all the different kind of candles. Makes it a little bit easier to identify trend. But bigger picture, as we finish out the week on the ES, been holding up for some time ever since about middle of 5/19. So that puts us in the middle or towards the end of May. But price action holding upside in this trend. Pulling back a little bit, so we want to watch into next week, but need to regain traction above that T340, but at least a pullback here on the last day of week 23. NQ trend, again, you saw that big pullback, so holding above the key moving averages, and then finally lose a little bit of traction down here on the T34. Price action pulls downside, nice moving trend to finish off the week, especially on the short. Price action bounces off the low, closes out those open gaps after hitting that AD line to close out the day, and there it was. So taking a bigger picture, if you take a look at that NQ, just take a step back. You see the intraday noise, you see it both directions, you look at the smaller time frame, but in the bigger picture, really, what did we get? All we got was a pullback to close out two open gaps on the NQ and still maintain its upper trend as it almost retests the 50-period moving average. So nice move on the NQ downside. All right, there's our big picture. Again, you can catch all that here in the week 23 recap, including if you click here, you can click down, roll down, and you'll see not only the charts, my perspective, but as well as each day's perspective from, you can click on that to get you to the daily trend, including the chart of the day that I post there for each day of the week. All right, let's jump into the charts here. There we go. Let's go. Let's start with the ES as we roll into next week. Price action currently, let's start from the bigger picture. Let's go to the daily as we just showed the weekly here. Again, let me just show you that quickly. So let's start from the big picture and then we'll roll down because the idea is to go from the bigger time frame, splice it on the lower time frame to ride it on the bigger time frame, especially for a swing trader, more maybe on an ETF. However, if you're looking for the intraday, you're ready to go in both directions. So that's a whole nother game in itself. The whole nother game in itself is looking for the chart, which is our golden standard setup. Price action again, we're looking for price action underneath the 5144 cloud. That's a 5144 EMA in sync with the 534 and the 5144. All right. You can throw in a couple key moving averages in there to help with momentum as well. And when we're talking about Heiken Ashi bars, again, another example here, we have Heiken Ashi. We have Renko Flex Renko. All right. An alternate version of the Renko bar. And when you take these two charts here together, you get the Heiken Ashi Flex Renko, and that's exactly what we're looking at when we're taking a look at the charts. All right, so ES on a bigger picture right now. Take a look at the candles upside. Regular candles here, just showing time frame, regular trading hours. We are sitting at the MML highs, all right? Appreciate that. We've been going from one level, consolidation, we lift, consolidation, we lift. All right, there's our weekly picture, still momentum upside. Now, we're up above. We're above the 10 EMA. We're well above the 50 and the 200. All right, we've been working our way off the MML lows from further back. And now, so we have resistance up here going into week 24. But if you take a look here daily, it's been resistance at the lows here. Do we have room to move up? Absolutely. Do we have room to move down? Of course we do. We need to break that 10 EMA support. The first level we'll look down to is the 50 EMA. All right, so there's our big picture on the daily and the weekly. When we go down to the intraday, again, we're more interested in the lower time frame. The first thing we'll be looking for is obviously here the MMLs on a zone high and zone low. Zone high would be a consolidation of different time frames. Instead of looking at all the individual charts, I take the weekly, the daily, the 60-minute, and the 4-hour chart, and I overlay it all on one chart for you. So right here, a consolidation of lines and levels gives me a zone from starting out on Sunday Globex. We'll see what the reaction is to Friday sell-off. 24.3750 up to 24.45. That's the first levels I'll be looking at for the week. Anything forward through the week, we'll reassess based on the Globex movement. We are sitting at 50% pullback, so we'll be watching that 10 EMA for support. Anything downside, down here 24.16, and then eventually all the way down here, we'll be starting to look at the 50 EMA. Where's our current trend? Our current trend is pullback short term. As we know, in the bigger picture, we're on a uptrend, but on the short term here, after losing a little bit of support here on the 2014, again, we were in an uptrend for the most of May and the beginning of June. I need to get back above that T340 up there and back above the cloud to regain some traction, which would be holding above the TMA. So watch for these upper level zones for resistance, which happens to put us back at the all-time high up there. Now, I did mention before, where are those other open gaps? Surely, we got enough to deal with just to drop down to the first one here, 23.1575. But I don't want to shock you too much. Yes, we have a zone of more open gaps down here, actually all the way down to 1860.75 eventually. But let's not get there too quick. Let's at least maybe take care of some unfinished business down here after closing out some open gaps most recently. All right, so there's your ES pictures in the ES big pick in the week ahead. All right, let's go to the NQ weekly. Similar picture as we see here. Price action upside. Let me go back to the ES for a moment before I jump into the NQ. Again, bigger picture. When you have this bigger picture here on the ES, you take the lower time frame, all right, and here you put it side by side. Again, it's splicing. It's about splicing into the bigger picture. So when you see the bigger picture on knowing a higher time frame and price action is moving down here, this was on Friday's price action, and seeing the setup on the shorter time frame, all right, whether it's AM, PM session, we had the jump up in the AM session, okay, price action above the T340, all charts in sync, nice move. But then the downtrend comes. It's about splicing into the bigger picture on the lower time frame and learning to ride it down without all the noise on the chart, as you can see here. Okay, so NQ, and again, that's something you need to be part of intraday and to be ready for it as a day trader. Taking a look at the NQ as we roll into week 24. We're still holding up at the upside here. MML zone high here. Pullback here. The first major deep pullback would be to 5,000. Looking at the shorter time frame daily, yes, we did lose support on the 10 EMA, so we want to regain that traction above the 10 EMA, but we're looking now to the 50 for the first level of support. If we lose that 50, which is putting us in the zone here of 56.25, obviously we'd start looking down here. Now 5,000 way down, even below the 200 SMA. So obviously we'd be watching those levels downside before we even got to that big picture on the weekly. All right, intraday, 4-hour chart right now, sitting below the 10 EMA. As I said, we need to regain traction back into the zone high up here. We have just as much reason to regain back upside and regain those all-time highs, but we need to see price action push back up. We need to see those FANG stocks. If some in the market feel that this is a time for sale, they'll buy it and we'll regain that traction, hopefully knowing that the ES and the YM held up in week 24, day 5, last Friday. Then we'll know the price action might just return to the upside. Wait to see. So current trend is definitely downside on the range chart, 50-tick range chart. Again, all of today's action, a lot of selling. Again, when you look at the NQ on the bigger picture, we did hold up for some time. This is over the course of almost 2 weeks. This is all in one day, so we lost it fast. All right, so right now we're holding downside to regain traction. We got to get back above that 10 EMA to the zone high. Anything lower, watch that 50 EMA, watch the zone low, watch the 60-minute reset. Anything lower, we'll start looking at the daily levels, which puts us right here at 56.25 and then down here to 54.68.75. All right, there's your NQ pick. YM, taking a look at the bigger picture. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weekly. Again, new MML reset coming up on the weekly as we've already breached the upper levels. So we go down to the daily and we can see we have some levels that will offer us resistance here. We got to break through here, but the good thing is we're holding above the 10 EMA. Not too long ago in May, we were looking at, we got to get that traction back upside to maintain the momentum. Surely we did, and it's a good thing that the markets are now holding up, pushed us up. Nice to see the YM after lagging so long, but we're above all 3 key moving averages. Any pullback in week 24, we'll be looking to the major support resistance here on the daily, also the 50-period moving average. On the shorter term, we'll want to be watching the YM here. Here again is the smaller time frame. Again, not too far off from the daily. So there's our zone high. This is again gives us a cleaner intraday pick. So this is what we'll be watching out for the week starting out as we hold above the 10-period moving average. Anything pullback, watch for the 10 support and the zone low down below. We are holding above the T34 on a higher time frame, 50-tick range chart. So we'll watch for loss of momentum as we are still all in the green here. So price action is holding up on the YM. All right, quickly taking a look at the crude as price action at the MML lows. Again, crude a tough picture as the daily gaps. We still contending with those levels downside. We have just as much room to go up and close the open gap up here at 55.41, but we do have 44.25 and 43.81 downside. So CL again, most likely to grab those lower open gaps, momentum downside as it holds here on the T340. Price action movement downside, resistance there. And we are holding at the MML zone low. So consideration that if we consolidate here, do we go back and retest 10 EMA up to 50 EMA, which would put us at the zone high? Or do we come down any lower and take out those open gaps? Again, you want to watch for the intraday time frame and catch the momentum wave. And last, the GC price action. A lot of consolidation here. Tough on the GC as the weekly continues to hold in an uptrend. And again, we're trying to get back up to those highs of 2016. But as you can see here on a daily, we just keep continuing to waffle. We are holding for the most part above the 200 and above the 50. So I got to give the momentum to the upside on the GC. We'll continue to retest the 50, bounce up, and just swaying along that 10. We got, we might get a couple weeks of upside above the 10, and then we come back and test that 50 EMA. So gold, best scenario is consolidation from one MML high to the other. Watching that 1050 bounce. Again, momentum after a while here on the GC, holding up for some time. Again, this is nice, especially on the 50-tick range chart. Gives you a trend to follow, but you can see deep pullbacks on the GC, so nothing more than maybe a couple days. Intraday, sure enough, like today or on Friday, price action gave a nice trend downside here, and that's what you're looking for, a piece of the pie when it comes to trend. Pullbacks, deep pullbacks, doesn't give you a big picture for the day to allow you to stay in the trend. All right, so watching into next week, watch for the zone high retest. We got to get back above the 10 EMA. Anything lower, watch for us to lose price action support at the 50. We'll test the zone low. Watch again down here to 1250 on the GC. All right, Jedi traders, that concludes the technical momentum outlook here for week 24, which will be posted here, including a link to the video and key charts. For those of you who are interested in any additional information, feel free to stop by here at tradingfibs.com. Each day I go ahead and I post the pre-market trend. That's the updated chart of what we covered here today, including the overnight Globex, the trading session recap, and then at the end of the week posting here on the week's end. Jedi traders, if you want more information about Murray math level charts, go ahead and check out my YouTube tutorial here on my YouTube channel. Just go ahead and type in Murray math levels, or just come and visit my Ashi. Come and visit my YouTube channel under chart education, and go ahead and watch the video. It gives you a little bit more in depth to those Murray math levels. All right, feel free again to stop by here at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. You can find me every day on Twitter at TradingFibs, where I go ahead and I post my intraday tweets and any thoughts roaming through my head. My trading mantra, as I showed you, one simple strategy. Any chart, any market, any time frame will work for you. I prefer the range charts. That works for me. You trade off the 1 minute, 5 minute. You decide, even off the tick charts. You can find me every day on Twitter, and as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me and on my charts, and leave that bias at the door when trading. So important today. By the way, coming up ahead, before I forget, economic calendar as we roll into next week for June 12th, we'll be looking at the FOMC meeting on Tuesday, announcement on Wednesday. Don't forget quad witching on Friday. Lots of volume in both contracts today. We'll start to shift that volume to the new contract of September. By the way, bottom line, before I forget, always posted that every week. There it is. Check it out on the blog site for the weekend technical momentum outlook. So watch that contract rollover. Look for that NQ to test support. We went over that, and the ESYM to maintain its momentum upside, but you got to be ready in both directions for that. That's the bottom line. All right. If you guys are interested, Jedi traders, in visiting us in our community of like-minded traders seeking those highest probability setups, feel free to email me, David at Trading Fibs. You can join us any Thursday or Friday in the trading room. And last but not least, I wanted to share with you guys, if you're interested in setting up a trading plan as a certified live trading coach, live trading challenge, which is starting next week with Infinity Futures webinar. I did a 3-part series. Feel free to click here. As you scroll down, you'll be able to see the list of the topics that I covered in these just a little bit over hour video, and stop it, slow down, review it, go over it, but hopefully that will create a platform for you to start establishing yourself a trading plan that is the key to essential to successful trading. All right, guys, have yourselves a Blue Zone weekend wherever you may be, and a Blue Zone week. And if there's anything I forgot, as usual, I will post it online or in my blog post. Until then, have yourselves a Blue Zone day, and have yourselves a good day. Have yourselves a good night, a good week, and good trading to you. David at TradingFibs.com.